All right, just get everything set up here. Joining spectators in mid-quali. What do we have so far? Well, we've got Harry Wales up at the top of the timing towers with a 120.9. Next fastest time is a 21.3, although Tuan is going to be out on an outlap here in just a second. So we've still got 9 minutes left to go. Perfect. We've still got plenty of time. Caleb White's not on a fast one. We can pick up Adam Bradshaw, who's just going around turn 1 now. Currently P4 with a 21.6. And reserving in for Calvi today, it looks like. So we've got both McLarens up in P4 and P5. Bradshaw looking to have a bit of a turn of form here today. Maybe turning it back on the racing line, but wouldn't put it past him that he's put a lot of practice into no-line Qatar. And it looks like we've got a bit of a backup going on one of the straights that we're coming up to in just a moment's time. Not many drivers out on track at the moment, but pretty congested around the triple right-hander. As we go in there now, on board with Adam Bradshaw in the McLaren. Going to be absolutely flat out through the next couple of corners. Finding a bit of time through sectors 1 and 2. Going to be hoping to find the same pace through 3. Just a lift off of the throttle and a downshift. Oh, that car's just barely on the racing line that he wants to take. But I don't think that's going to faze Bradshaw too much. DRS open, battery back on as we charge to the line. Very late start-finish line. What's it going to be for Bradshaw? Jumps up 1 position, just under a 10th of an improvement. As Sam Hussein's taken P2 in the Ferrari. Tuan is out on his flyer, so we can hop on board with the Alpine driver. See what he has to show us today. Currently Ferrari 1-2 at Qatar. Can Tuan do anything to spoil that? Well, not with an invalidation. He certainly can't. And it's certainly not going to be the first track limits we're seeing today. So he will have to recharge and go again. Sam Hussein, I believe, will be on an in-lap after setting that P2 time. And Bradshaw has driven all the way to Bahrain. And we can pick up Hawes. Is he on a fast one? Looks like it. Oh yeah, 2/10 up through Sector 2. So he's gonna... Ooh, okay, that was a bit of lag, maybe a bit of oversteer. Downshift through the third of the triple right-handers. I don't really think that's what's meant to be happening during quali. I will admit I've not done any practice for Qatar yet, as we're very, very wide of the final apex. That's gonna hurt him quite a bit. So we were 2/10 up through the second sector. What's it for Hawes? 4/10 up through Sector 3. So, hey, what does this guy know? Not much, apparently. All right. Everyone in the top 10 on in the pit lane. FA just crossing the line now. What was that? That was Callum Lyons jumping up all the way up into P5. Don't know where that lap came from, but 21.4 for him. Just a 10th off of his teammate who has gone back into the pit lane. Might strap on a fresh set of tires and go out once again. So it's a good look for the Alpine outfit. Ferraris and McLarens up there as well. It's a bit of a kerfuffle anywhere past that. What's Yan up to? Up to an invalid lap, it looks like. How about Hodes? Where did Hodes just go? Hodes, where'd you go? P12 is where he went. He just crossed the line as I was looking for him. 1:22.1 for Lucas Hodes. So still fastest time being held by Harry Wales with a 1:20.9. And I was personally wondering if he was going to be doing a little smurfing in F2, and it looks like I'm getting my answer. Roger Wells out on a lap. We can pick him up as he's heading through the hairpin. Down to the triple right-hander. Just throwing his Mercedes in every time. Maybe a downshift is what you need in that. I'm not entirely certain, but that was not quite all of the use of the track that Roger Well would have wanted right there. We're going through the final corner. Bit of understeer there for the Mercedes as well. Not the first time we've seen that yet today. And the deploy used already, so he's going to be derating all the way down the straight. What kind of lap time is Rajwell going to give us? A 22 flat, puts him up into P12 right behind his teammate Efe. And we can pick up, let's see, Ann's going into the pit lane. How is Lucas Rudd doing on his lap? Just heading through the final corner. He might have just hit the sausage curves on the inside, but didn't unsettle his Red Bull too much. 22.9 right now for Rudd. Jumps it up to a 22.2, puts him into P14. Got 18 drivers out here today in Qatar. And I am forgetting who this Alfa Romeo is. That is a familiar name, and I've completely forgotten who it is. That is no good, bad commentator. Let's see, attendance for Alfa Romeo. Oh, it's Rasmussen. Yeah, Rasmussen. I know what I'm doing. Last day currently in P10, reserving in the Alfa Romeo alongside Caleb White. I've got some really strong reserves in here today. He's probably going to be setting some really fast laps. Don't know what the run plan has been so far for last day down in P10, but he's completely missed the apex of that early hairpin. Easy to get a little bit of understeer, maybe even a little bit of oversteer. Tricky corner altogether. And was engine really bogging down through the triple right. As he throws it into the final left, he was a couple tenths up, and he is diving into the pit lane. How's Spanswick looking? Improving by over half a tenth so far. Currently P9 leading the AlphaTauri outfit. No teammate for him today, unfortunately. And a very big invalidation there for Harry Spanswick through the left-hander there. What is Tuan up to? Tuan is up to setting a purple sector 1. So says the track map at least, but... Ooh, invalidates once again, does Tuan. And he's going to have enough time to get to the end of the lap, but... How easy is he going to be able to recharge that battery? Because we all know how difficult that is in Qatar. Oh, it doesn't even look like he's backing off. What's the plan here for Tuan? I'm curious to see what we're looking at here. Is he going to be going back into the pit lane? He's going to go into pit lane as fast as he possibly can. Will Tuan be able to make it out in time for another flying lap? I wonder. Because there's only just over 2 minutes left to go. Of course, doesn't actually need to slow down for pit entry. Well, while he's up to that, we can see... Let's see who's the first down lap. It is FA right here. Everyone in the pit lane, 3 drivers out on an outlap, and they're all starting to trickle out as Tuan is trickling back in. I almost wonder if Tuan might be holding up his team. Nope, Lyons is already out of the pit lane, so that's good to see, but everyone on their way out now. So we're going to see quite the flurry of action here at the end of qualifying. As FA leads the field, still has some clear track ahead, not having to worry about anyone behind. Always what you want on a quali lap. Oh, that is everybody coming out as quick as they can. And Tuan might just not have enough time because the fastest time right now is a 1 minute 20. And that's about as much time as left in the session. In fact, that Red Bull coming out of the pit lane now is going to have to do a really fast outlap. But here we go. Gonna ride on board with the with the Mercedes of FA, excuse me. Let's see what we see through first corner, 5th gear, early on the throttle, nice and wide hairpin, throwing it into that left-hander of 2. And completely flat through 3, barely even a corner. 4 and 5, the 2 right-handers in sector 1. Sector 2 starting with the hairpin, going to be going all the way down to 3rd. Just taking that curve on the inside. Very nicely done. Then the late apex right-hander. Looking pretty good so far for FA. Absolutely going to throw it into this right. No hint of a lift there. And then a very early apex as the track widens on exit. The corner opens up its radius. And look at that traffic jam that we have coming into the final corner. Some people might not be getting the lap that they want. Going to be right behind someone else getting some dirty air. But FA right now 4/10 up on his previous best. As we see in the Delta, with just a little bit of a slide on the front going through the flat left-hander. Or not the flat left-hander, but the very fast one, we should say. I don't think that'll be killing his time too much. Up to the line we go then. What is it going to be for FA? Up into P8 with a 21.6. Now, who is going to be next across the line? I think it's going to be Lyons. Tuan did not make it to the line in time, so it's going to be a 21.3 at best for him. Can his teammate of Callum Lyons get himself up ahead of Tuan as he crosses the line? Did he just back out of that? Because he didn't improve by not even a tenth of a second, so I think he might have just tried to keep himself behind his teammate, which is interesting to see. We're going to cut to Jan, who is on an invalid lap, so we're actually going to go to Lastauskas, I believe, who's going to be crossing the line next. Down the straight we go. 5/10 improvement up into P2 of the 21.1. Great lap there from Lastauskas. Next up is going to be Rajuel, who puts himself up into P6. Very well done from Rajuel. And I'm just going to have to be looking at the timing tower. Caleb White crossing the line 7th fastest. So he's going to be a couple positions behind Tuan. And Callum Lyons is probably going to be wishing that he had actually finished off that lap the way he wanted to. So very quick flurry of action there at the end of qualifying. A bit difficult to keep up with. We'll get the official results here in just a moment. All right, Harry Wales taking pole with a 1:20.9. Next fastest time is Lastauskas putting in a steaming 21.1. And it's a 21.2 for Hawes in the McLaren. Sam Hussein for Ferrari in P4. Tuan, our championship hopeful in the Alpine P5. Rajuel right behind him in 6. Caleb White, the other championship contender, up into P7th today for Alfa Romeo. Callum Lyons in 8th. Bradshaw 9th for McLaren. And it is Manuel Olami rounding out the top 10 for Red Bull. And Spanswick 11th. FA in 12th place. Lasse Rasmussen 13th. Lucas Hodes 14th. Lucas Rudd in 15th. Jan Neider in 16th. Swanwick Moore 17th, and Zadrazil not setting a lap time rounds us out for 18th position. While everyone sits on the grid for a little bit, I am going to try my best to pull up all of the fun stuff that I need to pull up, like the track map, so I don't just say the left-hander and the right-hander. Can actually get some corner names here. Track map. Here we go. Lovely. And if I still have time, I'll try and bring up the YouTube chat, because that would be wonderful now, wouldn't it? There we go. All right. Got everything up that we want. And we're still sitting on the grid. Perfect. This guy knows what he's doing. All right, so obviously it's going to be a dry race in Qatar. I don't think anyone's going to be switching on to any wet setups. But we will see Harry Wales leading Lastauskas away at the start. And it's a pretty long run down to the first corner, so we might see some slipstream, some battery dumping in the first few corners. As it is all very, very wide corners. Nice and wide track as well. Really don't need to file into the car in front until turn 3, maybe even 4 if you can hang it around the outside. Here we go then. 3, 4, 5 lights are on. And we are racing in Qatar. It seems to be a pretty good start, even start from the top 2. It's looked to be a pretty good start from Hawes down in P3 as well. We're looking 3 wide in the background as Spanswick is trying to take his AlphaTauri around the outside. Lastauskas getting tagged by Hawes in the McLaren, who had a great start, trying his best to get around the Williams, not finding his way through. Tuan, however, making his way up past Sam Hussein. And they all filter into turn 4 now. And it is Rajuel getting past Hussein as well this time around. We'll bring up the tire detail. Harry Wales already getting himself a pretty good lead as Sam Hussein dives it to the inside of the hairpin, tries to get himself past Rajuel again, and they're going to keep fighting it out through turn 7. Rajuel gets that place back again, but they're definitely losing each other time. Lucas Hodes found himself facing the wrong way. Zadrazil joining him down in P17, so it's not looking good for Haas so far today. But it was a great start from our pole sitter of Harry Wales, already leading us away by just under a second, and Lestauskas is really going to be wanting to stay within that second for when we get the DRS. It's going to be very difficult to defend that P2 without it. All right then, anyone trying to dive it down the inside of the last corner? Yes, we have side-by-side between Olami and Spanswick all the way down the pit straight. Of course, there's going to be slipstream for Olami, but I'm sure Spanswick is going to be deploying his battery as much as he can. Chops in front of the Red Bull, gets that position up to P11. And now Sam Hussein finding himself not facing the wrong direction, but dropping like a stone through the order. Someone's just completely gone off the track there. That was the Mercedes of Efe going off at the exit of turn 2. Sam Hussein finding himself way behind where he just was. So he was fighting it out with Adam Bradshaw. I wonder if there was a little bit of contact between the two of them. Although it looks like we've still got all the end plates necessary on the front wing of Bradshaw's McLaren. As the 1 second gap has indeed been broken already by Harry Wales up at the front, side by side still between Olami and Spanswick as they head through turn 10 and 11. But to be both of them going off track for just a moment's time there as they fight it out, but Olami relegated down to P12. Now Ferrari of Sam Hussein trying his best to regain some lost positions right on the rear wing of Lasse Rasmussen, who, remind you, did finish first on track in Austria just a couple of races ago. Did lose that to track limits penalties, but not finding his groove here in Qatar. It looks like he's coming very much under pressure from Sam Hussein. DRS not enabled quite yet, even though it says it at the top of the screen. No one's going to be opening it until the end of this lap. But Hussein not with enough of a slipstream to get himself ahead of Rasmussen. Is running the hard tires though. No one on the softs, which is no surprise whatsoever. Because as we know, the tire wear very, very heavy around Qatar. And now I wonder what the strategy is going to be from the likes of Haas and Tuan, because they are hanging it with the medium runner of Lestauskas up ahead of them. I don't really think they're going to be getting too aggressive. They just want to extend this stint as much as they possibly can. Meanwhile, I'm just very much impressed at how Sam Hussein is able to stay behind the Alfa Romeo there through the dirty air of Qatar, and that is Swan Wickmore taking a bit of a trip through the gravel early on in the race. That's the Alfa Romeo of Lasse Rasmussen going off track just a little bit on the exit of turn 15. However, it was not a very good exit onto the pit straight for Sam Hussein, as we have a pass 4 position. Rajuel is getting passed by Adam Bradshaw with the use of DRS down the pit straight. Very nicely done indeed. I'm seeing some side-by-side between Lestauskas and Haas in that McLaren there. Looks to take that late apex, get a good run up to turn 4, just not quite enough to make a position on the Williams. So a very good overtake attempt there. Just didn't quite come to fruition. As we'll see, ooh, Rajuel fighting it out once again with Bradshaw. What's happened to Bradshaw is he's had some contact, definitely, because he's dropped all the way down to P10. And more bad luck coming Adam Bradshaw's way after it was looking like there was going to be a glimmer of hope. Still in the points, and still some cars ahead to pass for sure. So we can bring it on board with Tuan. as we're having a three-way fight for second place between Lastowskis, Haas, and Tuan. As we are rounding turn 14, throwing it into 15. So difficult to follow a car through those corners, as it takes away so much front-end grip, and well, the driver really needs the car to bite in some of those corners. And that's Swanwick Moore once again, this time off in between 13 and 14. And as we head on to lap 5, got a couple attempts for positions. Down the inside goes Callum Lyons on Lasse Rasmussen, as well as Sam Hussein regaining some lost positions, fighting it out with Rajwell, going to be hanging it around the outside of turn 2. Into 3 we go. He's going to have the inside line, but Rajwell's still going to be there with him. There's Rajwell on the outside, going to be trying to hang it out, but can't really do that around the outside of turn 4. Has to back out of that one. Great racing all together, and that was very late on the brakes from Sam Hussein, even more so from Lasse Rasmussen, now finding himself very much under pressure from the Ferrari, but manages to stave him off. Is it going to be a little bit of a switchback through turn 7? A bit of a difficult corner to pull that off in, but Hussein needs to live to fight another day here. What a wonderful race this is turning out to be so far. Great wheel-to-wheel action, and we've finally gotten the first time limit penalty of the day for track limits, going to Swanwick Moore down in 18th. As Rajwell having to steer out of turn 15 just that a little bit. Spanswick's right behind him, and who is going to try their hand at a pass down the pit straight this time around? I think the top 3 are going to be just far enough apart on this occasion. However, Callum Lyons is going to be the first one in this train without DRS, and we see Spanswick in the background also trying to make an overtake attempt on Bradshaw, but backs out of that one. So now this train being led by Rasmussen, who's got his teammate ahead of him. Kind of in no man's land right now is Caleb White. Side by side we go. Sam Hussein on Callum Lyons. Once again, he tries the switchback. He's got the inside, does Sam Hussein, and it looks like he's going to get that position. Beautiful move through 4 and 5. Getting himself ahead of that Alpine. Now needs to get a good exit out of the hairpin to consolidate that position. A little bit of a wheel spin, but he's gotten himself up ahead. Now, in fact, Lyons might have been really put offline by some of that, because he's fallen right into the clutches of Rajwell, who goes just a little bit wide through 10. Going to have that Mercedes all over him down the pit straight, and I'm going to turn on the telemetry here. We can see what sort of battery levels we're looking at, because we know how difficult it is to regen. 75% for Tuan yet. That is beautiful management, and he's trying to push and get as close to the back of that McLaren as he possibly can. He wants that DRS. He wants that position going down into turn 1. Lastowskis can feel something coming. Haas can see something coming. Can it be 2 and 1 for Tuan? Down to turn 1 we go. Lastowskis doesn't really defend the inside. Allows Tuan down the inside of turn 1. They're going to be fighting it out through 2. And I think if Tuan can just hang this out around the outside of 2, he's going to have that position, and he does. And Haas follows him through. So great overtake by Tuan. Opportunistic from Haas, because he needs to follow Tuan through. So they're going to be on the same strategy, starting on the same tire. Only 6 laps in, and we know that the medium tires are not going to be feeling very good right now. Lyons and Rajwell also fighting it out through 5. That sees Rajwell in 9th place. Coming under pressure now from Spanswick is the Alpine of Lyons, but he's just got to back out of that one. Does the Alpha Tauri. Gonna look further up ahead, as it's the fight between Hussein and both of the Alfa Romeos as they're heading through 10 now. It's Rasmussen ahead of Caleb White now, so Rasmussen's gotten ahead of his teammate. Swanwick Moore loses it once again between 5 and 6. And, woohoo, that's a big time limits penalty, or time penalty for track limits, excuse me. As Rasmussen picked up 3 seconds for track limits. Adam Bradshaw as well got himself all the way up into 8th place, and that is very deep on the brakes from Sam Hussein. Not going to have a great run out of the final corner. Someone who is, though, is Adam Bradshaw, we were just talking about, got that track limits penalty. Going to be forced to the outside of the pit straight. I think he's going to have that move done and dusted before we even make it to 1. And somehow, Swan McMoore has lost it on the outside of turn 10. Now it's going to be side by side between the two Alfa Romeos as they now have to defend from the charging Adam Bradshaw, who's had a pretty good turn of form here today, but still not a good turn of luck. As he's having to sit behind these two Alfa Romeos. What's the strategy going to be? Is there any communications between the two of them? I know Lasse is reserving in, but he's doing pretty good racing with his teammate so far. As Moore retires into the pit lane. And that is Lastauskis way off the track, coming out of 7. So I'm not sure what happened there. Looks like he's still got his front wing all intact. But another quick driver falling afoul of Qatar. There you go. I want to see what sort of aggression we're going to see from Adam Bradshaw, because he sees that recharge light flashing on of Caleb White up ahead of him. Does he smell blood? Looks like he's just going to sit behind the Alfa Romeos this time around. Hussein's far enough behind. That is the Williams of Swan McMoore coming out of the pit lane for some reason. As now Lyons having to defend from the outside. Spanswig fighting it out with Rajuel. Going to try and take that inside for 3. Just gives the AlphaTauri a tap, lets him know he's there, but Spanswick with the superior run gets himself out and away from the Mercedes, up into 9th position. All right, gap out front, just under 2 seconds now. So Tuan's starting to find a little bit of time on Harry Wales. Although, I feel like the writing's a bit on the wall. As we've seen so far, Harry Wales with quite superior pace over the rest of F2 here today, reserving in. But he could still lose it on strategy. There could be some safety cars, brings him back into the clutches of Tuan. And that is Bradshaw very much off the track on the exit of 15. Easy to do as the tires start to degrade. 50% battery for Bradshaw. He knows he's got plenty of it as compared to Caleb White up ahead. He's going to go for the move down into turn 1. Not much Caleb White can do against this one. Bradshaw to the inside and up into P5. So now he splits the two Alfa Romeos. He's going to be fighting a two-fronted war, as once again, Lyons and Spanswick going at it through turn 1. These two have been giving it absolutely everything to be leading this DRS train. Now is Spanswick going to try something down the inside of 4, maybe? Doesn't go for it. Smart move. It's hard racing, but it's not stupid racing here in GRS F2. So it's a little bit wide of the apex from Lyons, but I don't think Spanswick's going to be able to jump on that opportunity quite yet. Well, 10 of 29 already, about a third of the way through the race. No safety cars yet. How are we doing out front? Harry Wales has his fuel light on, so that could be a bit foreboding if everything stays the way it is right now. We don't see any full course yellow running. As Qatar is very... Oh, that is a huge off for Rajuel coming out of turn 15. Did he have a bit of contact with the Red Bull? I believe that was Olami right behind him. I feel like it's a bit difficult to have contact like that on the exit of 15. Could have lost it on the curbs, but... regardless, that is Rajuel all the way down to 14th. So some really supremely bad luck there for him. As, wouldn't you know, it's Spanswick and Lyons fighting it out once again on the exit of 2. Into 3 we go, and they've just taken each other out. Spanswick not leaving enough room on the inside, I have to say, in my opinion. sees Lyons and Spanswick spinning out on the exit of 3. Well, it's all coming to a head now. The hard racing is starting to turn into stupid racing, as we've seen a couple collisions. Now Rajuel gets a 3-second time penalty for his troubles. And now, what is the order? So, Harry Wales still leads from Twan and has Hawes right behind him. Bradshaw is a bit of a ways away, but has Lasse Rasmussen for company. Sam Hussein still splitting the 2 Alfa Romeos, has Caleb White right behind him, and it's a Red Bull 8 and 9, with Olami leading his teammate Lucas Rudd, and Jan Nijder, who I don't think I've really mentioned at all today, driving a nice, quiet, smooth race in 10th position, has 76% of his battery left, so we might see a charge from the Aston Martin sometime soon. Taking a look at Lasse Rasmussen, doesn't go for a move down into turn 1, not quite close enough, although he is really closing up on Bradshaw through the corner. Are we possibly going to see a run on him into turn 4? Would be a pretty aggressive maneuver, but not much separating the two of them. I think he's just going to stick behind, as is the smart move there. And now for the first time this race, everyone's starting to spread out just a little bit after those collisions. Seeing the first field spread of the race. Yeah, Nijder picks up a 3-second time penalty. What's everyone at now? I think everyone who has a penalty is at 3 seconds. Ooh, this guy doesn't know where to go. Yep, 3 seconds for everyone that has a penalty right now. Could be a race decided on penalties. It is a very easy track to pick them up. So if there's a driver who's just that little bit more cautious, we could see someone jumping from way down in the order up to a very, very good position if we see a late safety car especially. And I start to wonder how long the medium tires are going to last. Although Lasse Rasmussen is looking pretty good right now. He's got plenty of battery. He's staying right close to the back of Adam Bradshaw, and he's going for it around the outside of turn 1 on Adam Bradshaw. Still got some life left on those mediums. Quick yellow flag for, I believe it was Rajuel again out of turn 15. I'm pretty sure this time that was definitely on his own. Yeah, Nijder up into 9th place now, getting past Lucas Rudd down the pit straight. Yeah, we'll just keep a close eye on the battles happening up for 4th position right now. So as I was saying, I'm starting to wonder what the strategy is going to be for the medium runners. Of course, the race being led by one such a medium starter, and Twan is starting to catch him. 1.7 seconds is the gap. And then Twan's going to be going on to the softer compound of tires. So could we see Twan making a move in the second stint of the race? Would not surprise me at all, because he is sticking right close to the... sticking close enough to Harry Wales to make him feel a little bit of pressure, as that was Lasse Rasmussen off the track at turn 15, got himself right back on. No harm, no foul. Caleb White following Sam Hussein down into turn 1. Out of battery, though, is Caleb White, and there's really not much that he can do about that. As Rudd's trying to reclaim 9th position from Jan, and not quite able to do so this time around. Into the pit lane, we have a couple people in the pit. Oh, we have a couple people. What has happened here? Jan, who's just made that defense for 9th position, finds himself facing the wrong way on the exit of 2. Interesting times indeed. First pit stops on strategies, it looks like, for Callum Lyons and Harry Spanswick. Because I think so far this lap, Twan has caught 3/10 out of the lead of Harry Wales. Although I do wonder how much of that is battery, because he's only at 20%. Twan maybe knowing that he's going to pit sometime soon and regen some of that battery. So putting it to use. Well, Harry Wells not feeling too under pressure quite yet. Gonna be leading those medium tires on for yet another lap. Can't imagine the percentages that his MFD is showing right now. We're watching Lasse Rasmussen on the back of Adam Bradshaw and George Hawes. Two McLarens finding themselves back together once again. After Bradshaw did drop down all the way to 10th position, but finds himself all the way back up to 4th. And fending off the charging Alfa Romeo of Lasse Rasmussen, who didn't have the greatest qualifying, although I will say is having a pretty good race so far, as he's found himself up into P5. Has his teammate Caleb White right behind the Ferrari of Sam Hussein. Just been sticking inside that DRS, and Tuan is in before Harry Wales. Now, this could be the undercut of a century, because Harry Wales is not going to have any pace in those mediums left. I know he's a quick driver, but the tires degrade so fast around Qatar. This could be something spectacular from Alpine. In comes Adam Bradshaw as well. Lucas Rudd staying out. Sam Hussein is in. FA is in as well. Nope, FA stays out. Tuan is in. All right. So, what do we have here? We have George Hawes inheriting 2nd place, with Lasse Rasmussen still right behind him. So the McLarens splitting their strategy by 1 lap, as well, they would want to do. They wouldn't want to double stack, and there is quite the fight going on out of pit lane, as Sam Hussein has gotten himself behind Rajuel and Lucas Hodes, both on hard tires that they started on. And he's just got to sit behind the hard runners for as long as he can. Well, he's got to pass him as quick as possible. I don't think Hodes is going to be fighting that one too much. And Rajuel probably won't be fighting very hard either once Sam Hussein gets to the rear of that Mercedes up ahead. Just see the grip difference between new mediums and old hard tires. Going to dive to the inside. Here we go. To the inside of turn 10. That is Sam Hussein up to 9th position. Although, is Rajuel going to fight this one back? No, he's not. He thought about it for a second. Harry Wells still stays out for another lap on his medium tires that he started on, as does Lasse Rasmussen. Hawes is in, as is Caleb White. So where is this going to leave Tuan? Down the pit lane, the pit straight we go, rather. And, well, he's definitely ahead of all of the drivers that he pitted before. Back up into 4th place now. He has FA 6 seconds up the road. And it's 12 seconds to Lasse Rasmussen. It's going to be a bit of a fight off pit lane once again, as Caleb White comes out behind Lucas Hodes. And Hodes is going to be wondering, why is everyone coming out of the pit lane right behind me? Just trying to mind his own business there in the Haas. And Rajuel retires in the pit lane. So that's okay. That's not going to bring out a safety car. Down the inside goes Manuel Olami in the hairpin. Turn 6 with the fresh medium tires. And are we going to see a pit stop from Harry Wells this time around? No, we are not. He's just going to carry on for as long as he possibly can. I have to say, this is only going to go Tuan's way, because he is definitely going to be catching that Ferrari hand over fist. Although he did get himself a 3-second time penalty just now, so now he needs to win and lead by 3 seconds. There's a yellow flag for the Oh, that was, yeah. That was Rajuel's Mercedes. FA is finally in, so Tuan will get past him. And it is a 17-second gap to not Sam Hussein, Lasse Rasmussen up the road. Now these two are going to be fighting it out. Both these drivers having pitted on relatively the same lap, and that is Manuel Olami getting himself ahead of Caleb White, who really does not have any battery to fight against that. So unfortunately, one of our championship contenders really not finding their groove in Qatar. And as Caleb White just getting passed for 7th place, relegated down to 8th. We've got a few people hoping for some late safety cars. I am just wondering if Harry Wales is one of them, as he's into the pit lane now. So, we'll hop on board with Twan. How is the pit lane strategy going to be going? In the pits goes Lasse Rasmussen as well. Lucas Rudd picks up a 3-second time penalty, and Twan will be seeing that the two drivers ahead of him are going into the pit lane. It's softs for Harry Wales. And you can hear in my voice that I'm really uncertain on that strategy call, as the softs really don't last too long. Well, 10 laps to go. Twan inherits the lead of the race. Adam Bradshaw takes P2, as Harry Wales comes out in 3rd position, behind some drivers that have pitted not so long ago for some mediums, on some softs that are going to degrade in not so much time. So Manuel Olami is now the one splitting the two Alfa Romeos. Has Caleb White right behind him. And Lasse Rasmussen out of the pit lane, ahead of his teammate and ahead of Olami. So we might see some good stuff from Lasse Rasmussen, but are the softs really going to be fast for 10 laps is the question. Well, at least the question that Harry Wales is going to ask is, first off, can he get past Bradshaw? Actually, no, Bradshaw has a penalty as well. So maybe the question he's going to be asking himself is, can I finish within 3 seconds of Twan? If he can, then this was a good strategy. If he needs to fuel save, which his fuel light is still on, then that's not very good. Can I see how much fuel is in his car? Is the question. -1.0. Okay, so he's a lap under fuel. Is not Adam Bradshaw, is Harry Wales, which does not bode well. Which really does not bode well. Not too easy to save fuel in Qatar. Although, if he just hangs in the DRS of Adam Bradshaw, who's not really going to be going all that slowly, could do some lifting and coasting. It might just be the order of business for Harry Wales to win the race in Qatar here today. He's got 9 laps to do it, and he's got to save a lap of fuel, and Twan has to push like mad. As I believe the gap between Twan and Wales right now is 2 seconds, if I had to guess. Yep, 1.5 seconds to Bradshaw and another half second back to Wales. So, Wales is within that 3 seconds that he needs to be in to take P1 at the end of the race. Will he be able to stick with the McLaren and the Alpine is the question. We'll keep a close eye on that. Just seeing what kind of fights we're seeing on around the field. As Caleb White did get past Manuel Olami. Olami just has to stick within that DRS. Are we going to see an overtake attempt from Harry Wales, I wonder? And the answer is yes, because now he's up into 2nd place. And maybe he's just going to try and charge his way up to Twan, sit within his DRS and lift and coast, which is what he's going to want to be doing. He knows he's running out of fuel. He doesn't have much time to do his fuel saving. Just needs to get within that 1 second. He's got plenty of grip yet in those softs, but they're going to degrade sometime soon. Well, in a couple laps' time. But I think the DRS might just save him. Even if he's not going to have as much grip at the end of the race through the corners as Twan, I think he's going to definitely be able to stick with him in the DRS. That might just be his saving grace. Because, yeah, look at how much time he's already got to Tuan. And I wonder if we're going to see some complaining in the F2 chat that maybe an ex-F1 driver should not be reserving into F2. Might be the feelings felt from Tuan here, as he did just pull off an incredible undercut, just to have that taken away in about a lap's time. So then the question is, will Harry Wales want to actually make this overtake, or will he want to sit within the slipstream and the DRS? And it looks like he's going for it. We'll bring up the telemetry once again. Harry Wales back up into the lead of the race. Tuan right behind with not much more battery. As Sam Hussein shows his nose down the inside of Lasse Rasmussen, but does not go for a move. We've got a couple DRS trains going on. We've got P1 to P3, all within, well, all just outside of a second of each other now. So Harry Wales has indeed dropped Tuan out of that DRS range, and Tuan in turn has dropped Bradshaw. So that is an interesting turn of events indeed. So absolutely no lifting and coasting going on from Harry Wales' car, and I wonder if that's going to come back to bite him. I really think it is. Lap 22 of 29. And then we have the next train headed up by George Haas. Has Lasse Rasmussen right behind him and Sam Hussein just in the background there. Caleb Boy and Manuel Olami still glued together. As we see an overtake attempt from Lasse Rasmussen trying to get past George Haas on track. And he's got him going into turn 1. Rasmussen still with that 3 seconds. Yeah, Nider picks up his second 3-second time penalty, so that's going to be him with 6 seconds now. Although down in 13th, he's not fighting for the points right now. As I'm now seeing, Adam Bradshaw has indeed caught up to the back of Tuan. And 3.5 seconds the gap between first and second now. Ooh, 3-second time penalty though. That's gonna change things quite a bit. So now Tuan will not need to win and lead by 3 seconds. It'll be equal on penalties with Harry Wales up ahead. That does mean a lot right now. And the Alpine looking a little squirrely coming out of the final corner. Is Adam Bradshaw going to be looking for a move down into turn 1? I think he's just a bit too far back. He'd have to drain the rest of his battery in order to make that one. I'm going to look further back, see if Olami is fancying a move down the inside of turn 1. Caleb White still with no battery left. And doesn't even really look like Manuel Olami needs to turn his battery on as he shoots to the inside and gets that position on the inside of turn 1. Great move there from Olami. Up into 7th place he goes. Just going to take another check of the penalty screen. We've got 9 seconds down for Lucas Rudd. It's no good from him. He's going to be dropping out of the points at the end of the race if it stays like this. First driver without any penalties is George Haas in P5. I think he is a ways away from being able to make it onto the podium as of right now. And I don't think Adam Bradshaw really wanted to make a move down the inside of turn 1. Not yet, at least. He's got Twan right where he wants him. Doesn't have to be draining much battery at all. So Bradshaw trying to play it slow and smart. Get himself up into P2. Lap 25 of 29. I'm just waiting for when I see yellow flags around that Ferrari up ahead. Not because he's going to spin, but because he's definitely going to run out of fuel. Unless he's doing some insane fuel saving while still being able to make the gap grow to over 5.5 seconds from Twan. So surprisingly enough, no full course yellow running in Qatar. We usually feel like we see a little bit of it here and there. We've seen a couple incidents, but no one retiring on track. Both drivers out, Rajuel and Swanwick Moore retiring into the pit lane on their own volition. So a relatively clean run from F2. There's going to be a few reports. I know Spanswick and Lyons had a bit of a coming together at some point, and Rajuel might have had some contact at some point, but I'm not too certain on that one. Sam Hussein gets himself up ahead of George Hawes going into turn 1. Of course, Hussein still does have that penalty, but might as well make the position on track if you can. No reason not to. Alami still ahead of Caleb White. As it's a bit of a calm before the storm right now. I know there's going to be a storm in the last few laps that we're coming up to now. Over 6 seconds now, the gap between Wales and Twan. I mean, good on Harry Wales for being able to make that gap in the first place. I was expecting the softs to die out before he was really able to make a charge up to the top 2. That he was fighting for the lead of the race. Has Twan got fastest lap? Let's take a quick look. Good question there, my friend. Oh, where do I see that? Interval lead, fastest lap. Adam Bradshaw with the fastest lap right now by quite a margin. So I don't think anyone's going to be taking that away unless someone down in 10th or 11th or something wants to take away the fastest lap, go on to new softs for the last run. But no, I don't think Twan's going to be going in for new softs anytime soon. As here we go, side by side once again between George Hawes and Lasse Rasmussen. Rasmussen keeping the inside 2 himself. Hawes had a nose ahead on the outside of turn 1, but not able to make that move. How about these two back here? Olami still holding off Caleb White for 7th place. It's another battle every single lap. And just wondering, Adam Bradshaw's definitely going to execute this overtake at some point. When is he going to do it? Is he going to wait for the very, very last lap? Or is he going to do it a little beforehand, try and get himself away from Twan, give himself a second chance if he needs it? Or is he just waiting for Twan to make a bit of a mistake? I mean, he's got, what, 60% of his battery left. Twan's been charging up a little bit too, so they both know that it's going to be coming down to a final lap showdown between these two for position, because they do have the same penalties. Oh, into the pit lane from the lead goes Harry Wales. And I wonder what this is for, because he was comfortably in the lead. Does he just not want to be the F1 retires from the session? All right, very understandable. Doesn't want to be the F1 driver winning the the race by 6 seconds. Although I was really looking forward to him going very, very slow on the final lap of the race as he tried to reconcile with his fuel. But we won't see that. Fair play to Harry Wales. So that does mean that the fight between Twan and Adam Bradshaw is going to be one for the victory of the race. Lap 28. We're going to be going into lap 29 as the DRS is open in a few corners' time. And how hard is Adam Bradshaw going to be pressing the overtake button? And does Twan have enough saved up? 30% battery, is that going to be enough to stave off the charging Adam Bradshaw in the McLaren? We will find out. Just a few more corners to go. I'm sure the heart rate's going up. They're starting to feel maybe a little uncomfortable in their seats. Hands are starting to shake a little bit. Sweat's starting to drip, maybe. Making sure that they're taking their corners and their apexes nicely. Hyper-focused now. Try not to overdrive the car. Last lap of the race. Overtake on for Adam Bradshaw. He's going to have the DRS and the slipstream. Is there anything that Tuan can do about this one? He's already run out of battery. Adam Bradshaw to the inside. He's going to be taking that position heading into turn 1. Adam Bradshaw takes the lead of the race on the final lap. Now it's his to hold. He needs to hold this position and not lose it to Tuan at the end of this lap. Now, it is a very late start and finish line. So we could see something from Tuan at the end of the lap, but it's probably going to be up to Adam Bradshaw not making any mistakes. And Tuan, I'm sure, probably starting to breathe a little heavily. Bradshaw not taking that hairpin quite as nicely as we'd like to see. Lucas Rudd and FA fighting it out through turn 1. They go. That is Rudd, I think, defending that position. I don't quite remember where he was, in all honesty. But Rudd, 9th place, FA in 10th. And then enough of a gap to Lucas Hodes behind that FA won't be losing any positions on penalties. Up to the front of the field, battle for the lead. Harry on the field, that's why you're tired. I was expecting him to just at least see what kind of points he could get. I really wanted to see him just crawl around the track for the final lap, but it probably wouldn't have been too safe. But Adam Bradshaw, he's got enough of an exit. I don't think Tuan can really do anything about this one. Adam Bradshaw, after finding himself all the way down in 10th place with some contact early on, finds himself in the lead of the race at the final lap of Qatar. Takes the checkered flag to win here today in GRS F2. Very nicely done from him. Great fighting between Tuan and Bradshaw. And that is George Hawes taking 3rd place in the... I had 1 plus 1.6. I know, I just wanted to see it. But fair play. You were leading by quite a bit. And I know you weren't expecting to be hyper competitive with F2 either, so I think you've proved yourself wrong in a good way. Lucas Hode's going to be taking 11th place for Haas. Actually does jump up into 10th. Lucas Rudd had some big penalties. I forgot about that one. So a point for Hodes, and Lucas Rudd will be wishing that he didn't go off the track 27 times, I believe, if it's 3 times per penalty and he had 9 seconds. Fastest lap going to Callum Lyons, I believe, as I just saw the track turn purple. But we will get the official results, and Bradshaw, driver of the day, can't argue with that. All right, after the celebrations are done, Adam Bradshaw takes the win in Qatar, 9th on the grid, 1st at the checkered flag. Tuan didn't have the greatest qualifying, but he managed to get a P2 out of it after fighting for the win. George Hawes taking 3rd place for McLaren. Great results for them all around. Lasse Rasmussen 13th to 4th. Great result from him. Sam Hussein in 5th. Caleb White, our championship contender, could only make it P6 for him. Manuel Lamy finishes right behind him in 7th. Spenswick 8th, FA at 9th, and Lucas Hodes rounding out the top 10. Rudd in 11th, Lestauskas in 12th after an early incident for him. Did not see him recover very easily. No safety cars or virtual safety cars to get everyone up to the front of the pack again. Quite a few incidents here today, as plenty of people exceeding track limits. I try to go slow to not make it blurry, but I don't have the time for that. All right, I'm going to, before we leave off today, I want to get some interviews because we have not been doing that in a while. And going into the final race next week, I would like to hear from our championship contenders. So, let's see here. How am I going to do this? Commentator's booth and minimize a lot of things so that I can drag people around. Wonderful. Okay. All right. Oh, I don't have permissions to drag people in. Why do they not give me permissions for that? I guess that works too. Anyway, oh, Twan just disconnected. That's unlucky. Anyway, we can just do one at a time. That's no problem. We are live with Caleb White, one of the 2 championship contenders, going into the final round, and unfortunately, not the greatest race for you today. It had a lot of hard fighting. Tell me all about it, because it really looked like you weren't able to regen any of your battery after the opening flurry of action.
Yeah, every time I try to work with someone, they just stop working with me. Every single time.
So,
because me and Manuel were penaltyless going into the last few laps, and I had pace. I couldn't regen my battery. That's frustrating, that race.
So you're going to be kind of on the back foot heading into Abu Dhabi next week. I would just want to know, what is your strategy going to be? Do you think that you can take out Twan? Well, take him down. Don't take him out on track. Take him down in the standings.
Well, I've got nothing to lose now, so
that's what we like to hear.
Absolute,
yeah. All right, absolute aggression from you going to be going into the last round. That's what we like to hear. Are you feeling confident going into Abu Dhabi?
What's the gap? Is it 11?
I'm not exactly certain. After today, it's going to be a pretty decent gap, unfortunately.
9, I think. Yeah, right. That's doable. It's fine. Anything can happen. Abu Dhabi. You know what happened there in real life between a Brit and a Dutchman? The same again. So.
All right. Well, we like to hear the positivity. It's been a great season so far, no matter what happens in Abu Dhabi. It's been absolute blast to watch and commentate. So we're looking forward to some great racing next week, and we're hoping that you bring it to us.
I'll do my best, Blake.
All right. We appreciate it. Thank you.
See ya.
Right. Let's see if we can get Twan here. Having some connection issues on Discord, I assume. Can we get Twan? I would really like to hear from him. And I know he would really like to say some words on stream. There we go. Let's see. Are we all sorted? You connected good?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. So it was a great fight today between you and Adam Bradshaw for the win. Saw you getting P2. I wanted to ask what exactly happened in quali, because you were down quite a ways. Was it just kind of invalidating some late runs, not able to improve on your banker?
Yeah, I had my first run. It wasn't too bad, but it wasn't great either. And yeah, I just made stupid mistakes in my second and my third run. Yeah, and my fourth run was just too late. More of a panic attempt.
Yep.
So
So
just silly mistakes from my side.
then I have to ask, because Qatar is a bit of a difficult track to follow people and make passes. How are you able to make it all the way up into P2 then?
Well, I think it was Harry who was too low on fuel, so I was lucky with that, and I passed on the straight to people at the same time, I believe. So it were all quite easy positions won. So yeah.
All right. Well, you're going to be leading the championship heading into Abu Dhabi next week, and I just want to know, what's the mindset going in? Do you still need to be as aggressive as ever? You're going to be trying to take it maybe a little bit easy as it's yours to lose now? What's the mindset?
Well, I believe the gap is 9 points.
I
I
think
don't
so,
know
yes.
where did Caleb? Yeah, 9 points. So that means that I will, if Caleb wins, I need P2 if I'm right.
I
at
think so,
least.
yeah, that sounds right.
So yeah, so I will be the same as always, just pushing,
All
going
right.
for the win.
Wonderful. And are you feeling confident going into Abu Dhabi? I know a lot of people have mixed opinions on the track.
Well, I like the track, but I'm not confident I'm winning the championship.
Oh, really?
Caleb is still, he's still right behind me. One mistake could be very costly, so we will see.
All right. Well, as I said to Caleb as well, it's been a great championship fight between you two so far. It's been super fun to watch and commentate. So whatever happens, it's going to be one of the best seasons of GRS F2 for sure. So appreciate the interview.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Okay.
And one more thing, George Hawes, are you actually here?
Yeah.
All right. How about a quick impromptu interview? Because it was a good race from you as well today.
Yeah, I was very happy with P3 because now we're probably in the constructors fight. Me and Joe, obviously Joe is ill, so he couldn't make it, but thankfully my teammate got P1 and P3, so we're now, I think it's 5 points the difference is now
Okay.
for the constructors.
For the Constructors Championship.
So we're going
Nice.
into Abu Dhabi, hopefully.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember exactly what happened, because you were running with your teammate pretty early on in the race, and then he had an unfortunate incident, but he caught back up. So were you two kind of working together, making sure that you get some good points for McLaren today?
I mean, my degradation was like really bad. I started off really good pace. I was sticking with Twan and Lemonas, and then Twan got past both me and Lemonas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of, I mean, the back foot, when he said about passing two people on a straight.
Yep.
That was me and Lemonas, and my degradation was really bad. Every time, like on new tires, I was quick, and then on old tires, my pace was gone.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah, I'm happy with P3. Penalties obviously came in quite big for me.
yeah. Were you one of the drivers that was able to stay away from the track limits penalties today?
Yeah. I think I only got one warning.
Oh, nice. Okay. Very nicely done then. I know it's a very easy track to go off on accident.
Yeah.
So McLaren fighting it out for the win in the Constructors Championship next week as well. So we've got plenty to look forward to. Appreciate the quick impromptu interview.
Thank you.
And we will see you next week as well. That will close us out for today. It's been a wonderful day of racing here in GRS F2, and we've only got more to look forward to as it's the final round in Abu Dhabi next week. Championships on the line in both the drivers and constructors, so we will be looking forward to that with bated breath. So hope to see you there. It's going to be a fun one. Stay safe, have fun. Same time, same channel next week. It's going to be wonderful. GRS F2 Championship Decider next week. See you then.